Yo, what's up? Madison here. Welcome to my world. Today in your world, where we are is in Helsinki in Finland, talking about breakups. Now, I originally came here to enjoy the Scandinavian women and the Scandinavian spas, but unfortunately recently I had a breakup, so I'm not quite in the mood. I thought, how could there be a better environment besides something that's cold and frigid like this lake and ocean over here to bring you the idea of a breakup? Okay, so the first kind of thought I want to bring you when it comes to a breakup is how to even get over it. Should you get over it? Is it worth it? Why did it happen? Trying to make sense of the chaos that you went through, and so that you can move on and have emotional closure. So, first part of a breakup is this idea of romantic love. It's something that's been installed in our minds very recently in this generation and that generation before, and it's a new idea. You know, traditionally love was something that was not that you felt, it was something you did, it was actions. You took care of people, you looked after them, and that was the idea of love. Love was an action or behavior. Now this idea of romantic love is that somebody should love you just for who you are. This somebody, whoever this imaginary person that fulfills this role, should love you with all of your flaws. In fact, they should love you because of your flaws. Everything that's wrong with you should not be improved. You shouldn't work on it. You should be loved because of it. And that's actually a damaging idea of love, because you fall in love with the person who loves your flaws the most. What does that say about them? What does that say about you? About you, it says you don't have to improve. About them, it says they're settling. So this idea of romantic love is actually something that's spoiling society and spoiling probably the way that you feel about yourself. Because this girlfriend that just broke up with you, or you just broke up with, is probably somebody that loved your flaws. When they were in love with you, it was great. You had the momentum going, right? You're on an upward momentum in the relationship, and they loved you. They loved every single little annoying thing you did. In the beginning, you had that beautiful momentum, like, baby, I love you, it's okay. The way you snore, it's beautiful. I love the way you snore. The way you dribble out your mouth when you snore and you sleep, amazing. The way you drool, so beautiful. Or the way you chew with your mouth open, great. And other amazing things you did, right? Or other annoying things you did. So they liked it at first, and then eventually what happens? Then they get pissed off at you, the relationship momentum is going down, and all those same things that you did before, they start to hate. And you're like, I thought you loved it when I did this. Like, I never loved it at all. I never loved it at all when you did that. So this idea of romantic love in society is not actually real. It's an illusion that holds us back from finding happiness in a relationship. So I'll tell you a little bit about the story of my relationship. In my relationship, the romanticism was this idea somebody could accept me for me and all my fuckboy past, right? The debauchery that I ran across the world on my international tour/work tour. Somebody could accept me for all that, my busy schedule. And I was like, well, I finally found a girl that can do that, right? So that was my romanticism. But essentially it comes back and bites us in the ass. There's a lot of things also you can learn from relationships that don't work out. So for my relationship, I learned that it's very important for me to have growth with both partners in the relationship, where not only are we growing as people outside, like have our hobbies and passions, but we're always coming to a relationship every single day and every single week trying to make it better than it was the week before, or the day before. And when that stopped happening for me, and also stopped happening on the side of my partner, then it was no longer what I thought it was going to be, right? The relationship ultimately failed. Now what you'll find is that you'll go through a bunch of relationships, man. You'll go through so many of them. And every relationship you learn a little bit about what is a good strength for you and your partner, and you'll learn what's bad for you and your partner. So you'll have like almost like not a checklist, but an idea of like what you want, what you don't want. So you're actually learning a little bit from every relationship that doesn't work out. You're getting a little bit of information there, a little bit of energy, a little bit of knowledge. And as long as you can take those lessons and be wiser, then a breakup isn't so bad. For a second, let's think about when your relationship goes cold, why that happens even. It's pretty shocking, right? Like one day your girlfriend loves you and everything's magical, it's blissful, you can't do any wrong, you're doing your best, and all of a sudden, everything that you did that was great doesn't matter anymore. She just goes completely ice cold on you. So everything you did before that was fantastic is now horrible. And the girl that you used to know is gone. It's like the inside is still there. You're trying to reach her through this impenetrable wall of anger and distance. She's no longer engaged. She's no longer interested. You can't tell what's going on. That coldness doesn't come out of nowhere. There's a reason why people go cold, okay? That coldness is based on her having emotions on the inside that don't match logically how she thinks she should behave or feel. So there's a distance between the logical and the emotional, and they don't match up. They're not congruent anymore. She might have a bunch of thoughts that don't match how she feels, or a bunch of feelings that don't match her thoughts, and she doesn't know how to deal with it or rectify it or make peace with it. So what she does is she just goes cold on you. And it's kind of an immature way of dealing with the situation. It's kind of like avoidance, and we all do it, to be perfectly honest. In our day-to-day lives, sometimes we have a call we have to make. That's a phone call to a government agency or uncle or somebody that's important. And it's rather than dealing with it, we just kind of go distant and we become cold because we know emotionally we don't want to do it, and logically we think we should and we feel obligated. So rather than dealing with it, we just go ice cold and put it that defense, that wall there. So it's not that you've really changed, it's that she has to change to go through this process of the breakup. Now, that leads me into what I would call the villain versus the victim mentality. Now, even when I say that, what's the first thing you think to your mind, to yourself in your mind? You go, well, she's the villain, obviously, and I'm the victim, because she broke up with me, or I gave it my best, I gave it my all. But the truth is, both of us play these roles. You can play the villain as well. Because to her, guess what? You did something wrong. You deserve the breakup. You didn't meet her expectations. You weren't emotionally fulfilling. So to her, you were also the villain. And she feels like she's the victim. And all her friends say to her, you know what? You could do so much better. You deserve better than him. He didn't deserve you. Yeah, et cetera, et cetera. You're right, and encourages her. So realize that in a relationship, we both have to play these roles. And so as this is happening to you, it's really messed up because you're thinking to yourself, everything that I've done before for this girl seems to be now unappreciated completely. I can think of amazing things that I've done for the girls that I was with, and then all of a sudden it's like she doesn't care anymore. She literally has amnesia. So it's kind of a mind fuck. Because think about this. Everything that you've done for your girlfriend up until the point of the breakup doesn't mean anything at all. She literally cannot remember anything that you've done to help her. All those times that you either helped her with homework and studying, all those times where you helped her get a job, all those times where you encouraged her about her passion, all those times where you sent her gifts, all that kind of stuff just gone. It's like it doesn't exist. So as a guy, we're very logical creatures. It's a to us. We're like, how is that even possible? How could that happen? How could the ledger of everything that's been written down just be negligent? Because she's going about how she feels in that moment, right? Love, again, this idea of love is a romantic thing. It's not a logical based situation. So in your mind, you feel like the victim and you feel like she's being a villain to you. And in her mind, she feels like you're being the villain and she's a victim. But realize that once these roles are there, they're only there for a short period of time. They're there for a reason. They're there to go through the healing process. So it's not gonna be like that forever. Eventually, hopefully one day again, you can be friends once these roles have been dropped, but it will take some time. Now let's talk about something positive. Now we've talked about why the relationship happened. We know that stuff. It's horrible. You feel terrible about it. I know I felt terrible when mine happened. Let's talk a little bit about getting your confidence back. So your first initial kind of like instinct is going to say like, I got to get confidence back so I can get her back. I'm going to show her how much of a man I still am. And that really doesn't work because she knows you're just doing it to try to get her back. And she senses it. Even if you do make $1 million, or like in the movie The Great Gatsby, he becomes rich and he buys his house next door to her. Even if you do all this stuff, she's deep down knows you're doing it as a reaction. You are reactive and you are being reactive to get her back. Therefore, she cannot feel attraction to you. How does attraction even work? Attraction works by two people and one person is less reactive than the other. That's how it works, plain and simple. That's the rule it's always been, that's the rule it's always gonna be. So what you have to do right now is find a way to just be happy in your life overall, right? So that means surrounding yourself with friends that encourage you, friends that tell you can do better, friends that tell you to step your shit up and you're doing well, you're on your path. Making time to go to that gym, even though you don't feel like working out because you're like, I gotta work out and get attractive again and get on the dating market, and that's really not appealing to you, but even just working out, it's gonna change your hormones and your levels of your endorphins in your body. It's gonna make you feel great. You're gonna feel a little bit better. You're gonna sleep a little bit more deeply. Because even right now when you're sleeping, you're tossing and turning and you're upset because you can't get these thoughts about this girl. How could she do this to you? Why would this happen to you? Or going through your mind. And I can relate to that. It's absolutely horrible. And there's nothing you can do about that, but when you work out a little, at least you'll change your emotions. You can therefore direct your mind a little bit better. It's going to be reading great books, going on vacation, having experiences, just doing things that make you happy and building your overall confidence and happiness. And once you start to do this, maybe you're not a shadow of a man anymore. You're not a frail human being like how you were the last few weeks, but but you can start to rebuild your personal confidence. Don't even think about girls yet. Don't think about getting her back yet. Just think about making you happy. So what's our initial thought here? Initial thought is get our ex back. Get back with our ex. Like, if all else fails, man, it's what makes us happy in life. Just get her back. Just fix this problem. And I got a question I want to ask yourself, or ask myself as well, is should we even get back with our ex? You know, a lot of relationships, when they're over, you look back at them and you're like, well, I totally was in this relationship, but I could have done it way better. Or I was in this relationship and it actually was toxic for me, so maybe I shouldn't be with this person anymore. You might even realize that you've outgrown the situation. You might have been a great match when you were, 21, 22, but now you're 25, 26. Maybe you've outgrown each other and you've changed as people and your personalities are no longer the same. So, big question is, should you even get back with your ex? I don't know. I can't tell you that. I can think of girls that I dated before, and they're like, once the relationship's over, I never look back. It's done. It's in the horizon, like the water over here. It's gone. It's finished. I never go back to it. I don't think it's a rule that should be in stone either, because people do change and situations change. Maybe something didn't work out before, maybe you've both matured now and it works out for the better. So when it comes to getting your ex back, the tip I would give you is don't try to get her back. Don't make a grandiose effort to get her back. Unless she's mad at you didn't commit to her, or you didn't give her time or energy, you didn't invest in her. If that's the situation, then she really wants that, then hey man, if you get back with her, you gotta give her all. You gotta commit. You gotta not go out and turn off your cell phone. You gotta not go to the club all the time. There's everything that she didn't like that you did. You gotta really just shut that off and commit to her, because her trust level is already at an all-time low. And maybe she did some things to you that really just hurt you, and she has to change and commit to being and changing. And that's totally fine if that happens, man. That as long as she agrees to these new terms, these new conditions, and you all both improve and both try to make each other better overall moving forward. If you want to get her back, spend time with her, just be friends. Now you can be friends. Now the relationship's over. This is the time it's genuine friends. Encourage her to date other guys. Tell her how it's going when you date other girls. Tell her if you're satisfied. If you don't like the other girls and you want to get back with her. Just be honest, but it may take some time for that friendship to grow, to have that space for friendship once you've let go of all those victims and blaming roles and villain roles. And if that time has passed and you guys can be friends once again, then hey, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And maybe you can't be friends. That's totally fine as well. You gotta not resist and kind of surrender to that situation, because you can't always change it. All right, so that's it. I want to say thank you guys for joining me in Helsinki. Myself here, it's really cold. Got the blankets going on. We got James behind the camera, we're freezing. Canadians underdressed in the weather. We got some guys doing polar bear dips in the ice, and they're totally freezing. You can hear the scream in the background, maybe. We had a great time here, though. If you ever come to Helsinki, definitely come check out the sauna. It's an amazing place, great cafe, and all that good stuff. And we're popping the nightlife.